Well, hello everyone. David here with Azure Standard. I recently got a call from a customer asking about plastics in some of our oils and stuff. Absolutely, we don't have plastics in our oils, but they were telling me that there was a site online saying that the phthalates in our organic extra virgin coconut oil were 1,566 or something like that, some outrageous number, very, very high, about the highest in the marketplace. And I'm like, how in the world could that possibly be? Because our extra virgin coconut oil is from one of the premier suppliers of coconut oil. And they asked me, hey, do you test for phthalates or the plastics on a regular basis? And the answer is no, we don't typically, because we work with suppliers that most of them we have visited. We know who they are, and we do not, add the cost of testing. It's not just phthalates. It could be anything: pesticides, herbicides, fatty acids. There's 100 different things to test for, maybe more. We do make sure we have COAs for pathogens and stuff like that, but we're not testing for everything. That can get extremely expensive. We do spot test, and we've never found from any of our vendors having anything like that in our coconut oil. I did, in fact, test our organic extra virgin coconut oil, you know, and it came back not detected. 3 parts per million is the bottom line, which is about 50 times more than what, or they said we had 50 times more than that on the internet here. And it came back 100% below the threshold of being able to test. It's zeros. There's none in there. And yet it's out there somewhere, on the internet, showing that our Azure Market coconut oil, in fact, has plastic in it. Well, that's just purely a lie. But what I do want to tell you, to make this easier and be completely transparent about the way that we test quality, is we do, in fact, lab spot test. Now, this is not true with the supplements. We test every lot there. But when we're talking about food, we spot test different things at different times. We do not test a full panel on every product that comes in. And I do not see that there's any need to, or that we should expect you to pay for those kind of tests. The thing is, when we're working with absolute quality suppliers, when we know who we're buying from, we know that the coconuts are coming from small batch, small farmers in Indonesia that are giving us the best quality coconuts out of basically wild jungle. We know that it's going to a reputable plant that we visited, and we know how they manufacture the coconut oil. So we don't feel like we have to test every batch. We only spot test here and there. And because of this customer call, we did spend, several $100s to get this test, to just verify and make sure if someone's saying, but the other weird part about that is that, they're not available for comment on that at this point. Can't get a hold of them. I will tell you that we're always here. You can always get a hold of us, and we will verify the quality of our product. The product that goes into the Azure brands is of higher quality. We make sure that that is vetted to a higher extent than products that we get from other brands. We distribute things from other brands. We have our products that we put in our bottles, under our label. So if you're buying the organic extra virgin coconut oil from Azure Market, rest assured, it's clean. So when we vet our product for the Azure Market label, we do test at, many times, but we do not test every batch, but we do vet those very carefully. In many cases, we visit the farms, we visit the manufacturing plants. I mean, sometimes I do it personally, sometimes we send team members, and in some cases we even do it virtually. But we do absolutely make sure, to the best of our ability, I mean, there is no perfect system, but to the best of our ability, we are looking for the absolute highest quality products. And by vetting those vendors and making sure we know we have those relationships with the vendors that we buy from, we do not need to do as extensive a testing. And every time that we've done testing, when something like this happens, or one of our customers requires it. Sometimes we sell into, the food manufacturing industries, um, and they want it tested. It always comes back clean. I've never seen it not come back clean. Um, so, our testing is not batch by batch. In fact, I am more confident in the relationships and with the farms that Azure does business with than I am with lab tests. Nothing wrong with lab tests. They're wonderful and a great way to verify things, but that is not where the rubber meets the road, because a lab test cannot always differentiate, unless you're getting extremely expensive tests, between the quality, for instance, of the protein, or the quality of the fat that's in a product, versus, we can test for foreign materials like plastic. That's, you know, we can certainly do that. But we have no need to do that, because we have trusted, importantly trusted relationships. The coconut oil, the olive oil, I did not personally go visit the coconut oil, Indonesia. A team member did that. But I did, in fact, personally go visit our olive oil manufacturer, our farms and processing plant, both. And it's a very, very clean operation. There is almost no way that there could be phthalates, plastics of any sort get into our olive oil. And yet I understand that that's been rumored as well. No, the Azure olive oil is the best that I know how to get. It's from a remarkably good plant. It's from a remarkably uh, clean soil and it's actually from Tunisia. And it's basically wild grown. It's certified organic, but it's growing wild out in the deserts. It's a beautiful thing to behold, actually. It's about as close to nature as you could possibly get. I mean, the olive oil is pretty much like it's been being grown for, the last 2,000-3,000 years. And, I'm pretty proud of our olive oil, and it's not full of plastics. It's not full of anything. It's real oil, real olive oil from trees grown in those Tunisian deserts, just like they've been for thousands of years. So I'm pretty proud of that. And as we go into all the different products that are in our Azure Market label, I want to stress that we have been very, very careful to make sure that we're vetting that product at a much higher level. If we're distributing other people's product, it still has to abide by our minimum standards, the standards that, if you go to azurestandard.com and look at our standards, that's what we publish there. And they do have to abide by those, but the standards are even higher. They have to have, you know, top-notch growing practices. They have to be able to explain that to me or to one of our Azure team members of why that product's, top notch. I am very proud of the things that we put our labels on. Obviously, the Azure Market is our number one label. We also use a few other labels like Sweet Creek and Missy J's that, are also, Azure labels. But we are very proud of all of those labels and 100% willing to stand behind that. I don't know where these rumors are coming from, if that's coming from a competitor or from, somebody who just, I don't know, maybe shipped the oil to the manufacturer in a non-food grade plastic bag of some sort. I don't know. Can't explain it logically, but I guarantee you that we are watching the quality. And if you do really want the highest quality products, think of Azure Market, because it is something that we put a lot of work into making the very, very best. And if you hear of any of these, any of these kind of rumors going around like this customer brought to me, I am happy to double check on that, happy to look at those. We don't really want that kind of false information going around. And that's why we want to absolutely be that source that you can trust. And we'd work really hard at earning that trust for the best quality products, clean label, clean inside and out from suppliers who really care. Thank you for being a part of Azure.